Hi everyone, Chris Anderson with Mount Comfort RV. Well, today we're going to do a little different type of video. We're going to talk about, it's the dog days of summer right now, we're going to talk about ways to help get and keep your RV cool. Obviously all of these come with air conditioners on, or most RVs come with air conditioners on them anyway. But sometimes, especially when you first arrive at the campground, it can be really hot in there. And how do we get it cool? How do we keep it cool? Well, some basic maintenance tips are a good place to start. Keeping your RV seals and everything properly caulked. Any weather stripping, like around a door that's missing, a lot of times this gets torn up over the years. If that's torn or missing, that's just an easy place for air to leak out. We're pumping all the cold air in, but if it leaks right out, that's no good. And then if you have an RV that actually has compartments that go to the inside of the RV. I mean, if this just goes into the basement, no big deal. But if this actually is under a bunk or something in your RV and the weather stripping around this door is worn or missing, that's also going to make it very hard to cool. So that's our number one tip. For our second tip, let's say your RV has a vent in it like this. Most of them have some sort of vent in them along these lines. That's a standard 14-inch RV vent. Now, on a really hot day, that heat is going to be really pouring down on top of you, and there's no insulation here, obviously. That's a thin piece of plastic is all that's between you and the great outdoors there, and that's going to be a great spot to have extra heat coming into your RV. And these work in the winter too, but these vent cushions are available at any RV store. These are big padded piece of foam, and they actually wedge up into that hole. I'm not going to take it out of the package here, but this wedges up into that hole and sticks there, and then that's going to offer obviously substantially more between you and the great outdoors. And these work in the winter to help keep the cold out also if you're spending extended time in the RV. Okay, so the third thing you can do, especially this is when you first get to the campground and you're trying to get the heat out of the RV, is to, if you have a vent fan like this, and they come in a few different names, there's Max Air, there's Fantastic Fan, that type of thing, but these fit in those standard vents. If you don't have one of these and you have the vent like we showed in our previous point, you can install one of these, and they're relatively easy to install and they're not very expensive. There's a few different brands, like I said. If you've got the little fan like in the bathroom that's got a blade in it about this big, those don't move a lot of air. They really don't. These fans, they push air out and they will really move a lot of air. So you open your screen door, you open a couple of windows, and you'll pull a breeze through. And of course, warm air rises, so all that heat that's in our camper is trapped up near the ceiling, and this will pull the air out of the camper and allow our air conditioner to do a little bit of work. In addition to this, so for our third point, this will be our third point, point number two within the third point, I guess you might say. We have this Max Air vent cover, and these are made to go on top of the roof over these fans. And the idea of that is you can actually run these fans, if you have a vent cover on it, you can run these fans going down the road, and even if it rains, it's not going to rain into the RV. They're very handy to have. So this would definitely be a great addition to any RV that doesn't have one. All right, next we're going to talk about the actual efficiency of our air conditioner. One of the things people just don't either know or pay a lot of attention to is the cold air return on our RV. There's actually a filter in here, so let's get that out. See that guy? That's actually your RV or your air conditioner filter, and this should be cleaned in just plain water. Rinsed out and allowed to dry. You'll find after, if you've had your RV for a little while, you pull this out, it's going to be a big dusty mess. So you can either blow it out with an air compressor, or like I said, just wash it out. You could replace it if yours is really, really bad, and then put it back in, put your cover on. You got another feature here that some RVs have, which is a quick dump. Air conditioners lose a little bit of efficiency when they're trying to run air from one end of the camper to another through the ductwork. So what you can do to cool your RV down quickly is open up this little vent as well and allow that air to dump straight down. And that'll be a little noisier, but that will definitely cool off your RV a little bit quicker. Okay, this will be another point that actually can kind of work for heat or cold. You can take thermal foil is what they call it. It's like two pieces of tin foil with bubble wrap in between it. You can buy this at RV stores or even like big box stores, Home Depot, that type of thing. And put this on your walls in places where it's not seen. It's not very attractive, so you wouldn't want to put it, all over the place, but on your exterior walls, like inside of a cabinet, you stick that, you line that entire cabinet with that, and that's going to give you one more layer of insulation between you and the great outdoors. Sometimes people will notice when they, especially in the winter, when they open their cabinets and reach inside, it's actually noticeably colder in there because there's not a lot of heat. You know, obviously they don't duct heat into your cabinets. So to give yourself one more layer, works for hot or cold, just to help cool you down just a little bit more. Okay, this next one is actually the very first upgrade I made to my RV. I bought a used RV, and one of the first things I noticed was it had the older incandescent lights in it. Those light bulbs get hot, and there's a lot of them throughout the camper. You know, you start going through and counting light bulbs in campers, there's a lot, and if every one is getting really hot and throwing heat off, that just makes it that much harder to cool. LED bulbs are brighter, they last longer, they obviously stay cooler, and they use a lot less energy too, which is good for a lot of reasons. These barely get warm. You know, there's barely any heat there at all. If you had that old pancake style light that actually has the glass lens on it, and it had the incandescent bulb in there, they would literally burn you. You could blister your skin by reaching up and touch them. And you know, you could have, in a big motorhome, you could have 60 or 80 of those in the ceiling, and it's a ridiculous amount of working against you when you're trying to cool down the RV, is to have all these little roof heaters going just for lighting. So change out to incandescent lighting again. I'm sorry, change out to LED lighting. Get rid of the incandescent lighting, and you'll have a lot easier time cooling your RV. Well, thanks for watching. I hope this helps you cool off in the campground. One of my favorite ways is actually sitting out under the awning if it's not too bad. So those are my tips. I hope they help. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
You forgot one more tip, Chris.
Oh, I guess I did.